Welcome to the Festival Foods Kitchen. I'm Stephanie and this is Lauren, and we're two of Festival's dietitians. Today we're talking about one of our favorite produce items, and it just happens to be Wisconsin state fruit and America's original superfruit.
We're talking about cranberries.
Yes. You know, and that line, America's original superfruit, I absolutely love it. And it's kind of a trendy thing, superfruits, superfoods, it's something we talk about a lot. But cranberries have actually been commercially harvested in Wisconsin since 1860.
Wow.
Yeah, so a long time.
Yeah, no
They have
kidding.
a rich history, and I think one of the things when we think of cranberries, people often think of dried cranberries or craisins.
Yes.
And the other way is possibly frozen cranberries because cranberries do freeze well. But today we're going to use fresh because they're in season and we can.
Yes, very exciting. So today our recipe is going to be cranberry meatballs, but let's start off with what everybody thinks about with cranberries,
Yes,
which
the
is
sauce.
cranberry sauce. So we are also sharing one of our favorite recipes for just a little bit better for you cranberry sauce option for the holidays. Has 4 simple ingredients. We used cranberries, 100% orange juice, and crushed pineapple, which provide that natural sugar instead of the added sugar. However, as we know, cranberries are very tart. So if you taste it and you think it still needs a little bit of sweetness, you can certainly add a little bit of sugar. Otherwise, stevia is another great way to add a little bit of sweetness without that added sugar.
Yeah, and you know, I think cranberry sauce is one of those things people might think is kind of a tough recipe to make. It's not. Like you said, 4 simple ingredients and away you go.
Yes, so let's turn over then to what our main dish is for today, which is cranberry cheddar meatballs. So we are using ground turkey to start with. And this is turkey sausage, so you would remove the casing, and then you get the meat from there.
Which is one of the things, you know, I don't think people often think about utilizing sausage links in a different fashion, but it's a great, fun alternative use for those as well.
Yes, and it provides a little bit of that spice, which again makes the meatballs taste just a little bit better. And then we're using some chopped up fresh cranberries because they are in season.
And if you decided you didn't want to chop all of your cranberries, you could certainly throw them in a food processor. I know we've used a mini food processor before, and it fits the 3rd cup just perfectly.
Yes, perfect. So the other thing, of course, is our cheese. So this is a white cheddar cheese, shredded, which is going to provide excellent flavor in our meatballs. We've got some Dijon mustard for a little bit more flavor. Some baking powder. And then we're using red onion today. The recipe actually calls for shallot, which is essentially just a cross between an onion and garlic. You could really use whatever onion you have on hand though, which is nice.
Well, I think that's the beautiful thing about meatballs in general. You can kind of mix and make whatever you want, and the flavor profile can be a little bit different each time.
Yes, and then to help give our meatballs a nice structure, we're going to use some whole wheat breadcrumbs. With the ones that we made today, we used the gluten-free breadcrumbs, which can be found in our natural department at Festival. You could also use gluten-free flour or whole wheat flour or all-purpose flour. Again, whatever you have on hand.
Yeah, it all kind of works the same.
Yes, and then we're putting in a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of salt to give it that nice flavor. And then we mix it up.
Easy as that. So while she's doing the stirring, I thought I would share a little bit about our travels to a cranberry marsh in Warrens, Wisconsin. We had the pleasure of joining U.S. Cranberries on a local farm, and it was just amazing when you're over in that portion of the state, because literally on both sides of the road, everywhere you look, it's cranberries everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And it's just beautiful. I learned so much about not just the farmers, but cranberries in general. So most of the farms in Wisconsin actually are multi-generational and very small farms. So everybody kind of does their own thing, and their children take over the farm as they're old enough, and it was just a really unique process to see. But one of the things that I learned that kind of I guess I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I didn't know that cranberries didn't grow in water, because that's what you always see.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
You see the harvest where they're floating on the water, they look just beautiful, and then they're moving them into the trucks. They actually grow on vines, and they're on the ground dry. The only other time besides harvest time that they actually add water is to protect the berries if it's going to freeze. But what they do then is they flood the bed, and then they run what they call the beater through the bog and loosen them up. They come off of the vine, and because each cranberry has a little air pocket in it, they rise up to the top. So then they can corral them with the boom and then get them into the trucks, and you get your perfect harvest. It's such a cool process and definitely something that I never knew.
No, and it takes place right here in Wisconsin, right in our backyard, which is just fascinating to
Yeah,
me.
it's definitely cool.
Very cool.
So we are all set here?
Yes, so from here we would roll our meatballs into about golf ball size balls like we have here. Put them in the oven at 350, bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. Halfway through, you may want to kind of flip them a little bit just to make sure that they cook evenly. Take them out of the oven, and then today we are serving them as an appetizer. So we have them on skewers, which is really fun to dip right into our fresh cranberry sauce.
Which I absolutely love because they almost look like cake pops,
Yes.
but better for you than that, right?
Yes, so should we give them a try? We're gonna just dip them in a little bit.
Wow, that is amazing. And that Italian sausage, Italian turkey sausage really gives great flavor.
Yes, love it. So we hope you enjoyed this delicious way to dish cranberries. And remember, you can always eat well at Festival Foods.